What is up, guys? Rick Cacus here, and today we've got some brand new information on Anthem, and this is some pretty big news. Now, yesterday I made an Anthem update video discussing a bunch of new information, including a first look at how the flight system would work in Anthem. Highly recommend if you're someone who's interested in this game in checking that video out. Now, only one day later, we've got some brand new information, and this is courtesy of a Kotaku article written by Jason Schreier. Now, there is some animosity towards game journalists when you see them play the game and they barely know how to shoot. I get that a lot. But Jason is one of the best. He has been involved within the Destiny community for a very long time, and that's how I came to know him. He has been 100% accurate. I'm not even kidding. 100% accurate in leaking stuff for Destiny, so all of his stuff is definitely worth taking as fact. Now, he's written this article talking about the development of Anthem and all of the challenges and the changes that are upcoming for this game. Let's talk about it. So let's get started here with the big one. Anthem has reportedly been delayed. Now, it did previously have a fall 2018 release date. So this year, when all of the big games are coming out in fall, Anthem was supposed to be one of those heavy-hitting titles. But this is unlikely to be the case, and that fall 2018 release date was rather loose. According with sources familiar with the project, the quote fall 2018 window was never realistic. So when is Anthem now supposed to come out? Well, according to these same sources, early 2019. That is the time frame we're now looking on. Now, of course, this is all not solidified. It could still come out in fall 2018, but this is looking a lot less likely, and I would definitely shift your expectations to this new early 2019 window. Now, interestingly, apparently EA is unlikely to allow Bioware to delay it beyond March 2019. And that's because EA's fiscal year ends in March, so they want to get a certain amount of AAA titles to release within a fiscal year, or else it's not going to look that great to stockholders. So they're under pressure to finish, of course, before that March 2019 date. So that is the new time frame for Anthem's release date. Early 2019, with no later than March 2019 being a possibility. And that's going to change a lot of things, and of course, you have mixed feelings as a gamer, because number one, you want the game to be as good as possible, and therefore you are understanding of a delay. For me, I would rather have a game delayed than it be rushed out and be a disaster. I think most of you guys watching would be in the same boat. However, it's also a little disappointing, not gonna lie, especially, why are they putting out these early release dates when they can almost never hit them? And there's a lot of Destiny fans right now in flux, looking to Anthem to be the answer to their Destiny 2 woes, and now that it's been delayed quite a few months, that's gotta hurt. But there is plenty more in this article than just the delay of the release date. Now, Bioware has apparently been really going into crunch time with Anthem and pulled several other developers off of other projects and other games, including the next rumored Dragon Age, which this is a little interesting for anyone who's a Dragon Age fan. Apparently, this next Dragon Age will be still heavily focused on story and characters, but also implement more live elements into the game. I'm not sure what those live elements would be. Perhaps they could be moving into an MMO type territory, or just have these constantly evolving live events to get the community involved. Who knows? But back to Anthem. Pulling all of these different developers from these other very important projects, Dragon Age is a huge franchise, and putting them on Anthem shows Bioware is really committed and frankly really struggling to get Anthem out and to get it done right. As a result, both Bioware Edmonton and Bioware Austin are completely focused on Anthem. But for anyone who has played a Dragon Age game, I think they're pretty fantastic, and so having the Dragon Age crew helping the Anthem crew, that's frankly a positive in my books. However, it's also being reported that the Anthem developers are on edge, and that's due to several factors. Firstly, due to all of the recent controversy involving EA right now. Anthem is indeed being published by EA, and EA has been taken to town by the gaming community, especially over what they did with Star Wars Battlefront 2. There was just an unbelievable amount of negative press towards EA, and that's great because EA completely screwed over that game. A game that was otherwise going to be a fairly decent game was ruined by microtransactions. So of course they got a ton of flack for that. But the developers at Anthem feel like that they're in a position now where they're really scrutinized. And even if they release a solid game, people are still going to overlook that game just because it's made by EA. And in fact, I see that all the time in the comment section. People saying, trash game, EA trash game, right? Like the game isn't even out yet. It could be the best game ever made by man. And these people are still in the comments saying, no, trash game. Now, yes, you should be worried about EA, and I'm not saying throw your blind faith into this game or any game, frankly, and frankly, don't even pre-order. Pre-orders are a thing that really just emboldens developers to make fake promises. But I will say that EA has also published some fantastic games. The Battlefield series, all published by EA, are some of the best games ever made in the FPS genre. They published Dragon Age Inquisition, fantastic game. They published Titanfall 2, fantastic game. So EA does bad things, terrible things, and should be criticized, but it also can wind up publishing some fantastic games. I just hope the latter happens for Anthem. And it's kind of a good thing that developers are worried about this. Like, that this is being reported, that the developers are like, oh crap, everyone thinks we're going to be bad because of EA. That, I mean, it's kind of sad for them, but frankly, it's good for us gamers because it means that they're cognizant of how we're feeling, and they're hopefully not going to pull another microtransaction scandal because they know it's going to blow up in their face if they do. In fact, speaking of microtransactions, another reason the development team is kind of on edge is because a bunch of false information has been reported by, and they do say, big YouTuber personalities. Now, I was like, oh boy, they got me, but no, actually, there's been several other big YouTubers who have reported that Anthem is having these crazy microtransactions, when the truth of the matter is Anthem has not decided whatsoever at this point in development on their microtransactions. Let me repeat that again. There is absolutely nothing decided. So Anthem could come out no microtransactions at all. They could come out full pay to win. We don't know, and Bioware doesn't know. They're not done building the game, and they have no plans so far to specifically implement one thing over the other, right? So that's completely in flux. So of course, though, it's still getting reported that's going to have microtransactions, and it was also reported that they would be using this nefarious matchmaking and a difficulty adjustment and all of this stuff, but that all turned out to be false. And I did do a video calling those claims false, showcasing that the developers have come out and said, we don't know where this information is coming from, but it's not true. Unfortunately, and what happens most of the time is when you put information out there and it gets to a wide audience, and then you try to correct that information, if you have the true story, the truth gets to less people than the false information, unfortunately. But the last reason why the Anthem development team is worried is because it's being realistic, and it feels like Anthem may have a little bit of growing pains. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, if we look at the landscape of this loot-based shooter genre, essentially, we've got Destiny 1 and The Division. And we can even broaden that scope into just loot-based games in general, where we have Diablo 3. All three of those games, but let's specifically focus on Destiny and The Division, those games, when they came out, were not great. Both Destiny and The Division in their vanilla states with no DLC, no improvements, were at not great positions within their lifespan. And it took 3 years and multiple paid expansions and multiple free updates to make both Destiny and The Division into great games. The Division is at its best state ever. It had queues yesterday for people signing on because so many people were playing that game. That's crazy. Destiny with the Age of Triumph was at its best state ever. People were praising the game, And of course, Destiny 2 came out and just went away with all of the improvements. But this is again what Bioware is feeling, is that if they don't release a perfect game, people are going to give them crap when we've allowed these other games to grow over years and become really good. They're being, again, realistic and saying, you know, Anthem might be a really solid game at start, but have some issues, and it's going to take them some time and some updates and some expansions to really reach their vision. It certainly happened with Destiny. So, with all of this internal development turmoil that's going on right now at Bioware, what is the takeaway from all of this information? Well, I want to break it down this way. According to the in-game sources, the development of Anthem went from the category of, quote, this game is screwed not too long ago, to, quote, game development is really hard recently. And that is very good news. Because again, people familiar with the project were actually saying this game is screwed. That is not good. That is terrible news. But now they've changed their tune. Now that Bioware has reorganized their resources, brought everyone in on the Anthem project, that they're looking at this delay, which will give them some more time. It's now just going to be hard, but doable. That is great news, and that's what I want to hear. You don't want the game to be staying in the this game is screwed category until launch. That would be the worst case scenario. And things may have sounded bad during this video, but in the end, Anthem hasn't had to restart development in the last year, which is what happened in Destiny and in Destiny 2, and both times it was hugely detrimental. I mean, we're experiencing the detriments in Destiny 2 right now. So even though the Anthem development team is stressed and they're worried about EA and all of that stuff, or at least worried about the community's perception of EA, at the end of the day, that could make for a better game. The fact that they are knowing we've got to nail this on the head. We've really got to make the best possible game we can. We've got to prove that EA isn't some Disney villain, that they're going to let us make a proper game that's not infested with microtransactions. At the end of the day, for us gamers, that may end up in the best product yet. And that is good news. Guys, that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed and found this informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to keep in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at @RickCacus. That's linked in the description down below, as is my Twitch channel, which you can also follow. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.